Okie dokie. So that should be the stream live. Let's just go over and refresh Twitch. Yeah, alright. I'm not announcing that we're recording this or streaming this right now. If people happen to walk into it, that's great. If not, that's okay too. So, hey, hi, hello. Welcome back. Alexandrian Codex. I'm here with MidnightRaeven today. Say hi, Raven.
Hello.
Hello. Raven is the admin, head administrator for the Templin Institute and the Dawn of Victory Discords, and I think also the subreddits. Is that right?
I am a moderator for the Twitch, the subreddit, and I think that's it also.
Unless there's social media accounts we're forgetting about.
Yeah.
If we are, they're not that important. So we'll start out with a pretty easy. Well, what do you do with Dawn of Victory? How did you find out about Dawn of Victory? Who are you? What do you do here? Why should people care about you?
I have been working alongside Mark to help keep the Discord in order at the Templin Institute since about 2018. And I am the server administrator and help keep the peace in the Dawn of Victory server on a daily basis to the best of my ability.
It's a Sisyphean task. Now, Raven and I, we've only known each other for, we were talking about this morning, a few months now. It was after I was made staff, like a month or two after that, when you had more time to be more active on the server, and what was it? Like, hey, this person's staff and they're yapping a lot and they keep streaming shit. I should check what the fuck is going on here?
No, literally all it was I saw the staff in like the moderators interacting with you like here and there.
A lot, yeah.
They were like, "Oh, staff person, that's cool." And then like our interactions started with me initially just sending you DMs to be an asshole and do funny memes, and then it kind of grew into something a little bit more, where like we connected the staff and the mod side a bit more by like chatting and figuring things out.
I can't even remember our first DMs. Like, I think the first interaction I remember with you was you popping into a stream with me doing a naming stream. Jesus, we message a lot. I'm scrolling back right now and it's going. Was you popping in and being like, Raven, why do I know that name? Oh, that's our server administrator. Hi, Raven. And like, I don't really know you, but like, you're funny and I like 2 months. 2 months.
Oh, Jesus.
6:14.
It never stops.
Jesus. Yeah, no. I regret scrolling to the top there. It's been a long 2 months.
Yeah, I think it was like we were in a voice chat together talking with the other mods, and you were like, "Hey, you're like the server admin. It's not okay for random server users to message me, but if the mods want to, I'm totally okay with that." And I'm like, "Hey, you remember how I said I could do this? Hello?"
Yeah, the first message is, "Hey, busting into your DMs. Busting makes me feel good." So yeah, in those 2 months, you and I have, and really this has been your baby, and I've been advising and note-taking and setting up calendars and being a little assistant for resetting the roleplay, redesigning and reimagining the roleplay, as well as starting some other like community engagement initiatives like fan art competitions and things like that. Yeah, it's been a busy couple of months. So
I can't even remember like a whole list of everything we've done. It's been
yeah,
that much in
yeah.
such a short amount of
I'm
time.
like, I'm realizing now, like, damn, I should have taken notes on this prior, and thought about this. But yeah, there's quite a bit. You and I are two of the most active DOV staff, I guess. I mean,
Assistants, like I
what,
don't
yeah,
know.
I mean,
What the-
you're an administrator, but also like you're staff. You aren't lore staff, but you're staff. You're not a volunteer. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know how to describe us. I'm trying to not come across like we're the cool kids. We're like decidedly not. We work with some very cool, passionate, creative people. The amount of talent that we're surrounded by with less active community members, maybe outwardly, is humbling and very exciting. We're just a couple of nerds, so we can jump in and start talking about this diplomacy game. What were you thinking? What was your reaction? Because to give a little background, I've been poking at Raven for longer than we've been talking about, hey, let me run a diplomacy game. Hey, let me run a diplomacy game. Hey, let me run a diplomacy game. Like, this will go over well. I promise this will go over well. Let me do it. What's that been like for you? What's your thought process been?
About like the game itself, or you nagging me about
It's
it?
both, either or.
I mean, at first I didn't really see a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of diplomacy games from a few YouTube channels, and some of them have timers in the bottom left about just how long the game actually takes, and it's like a 2 hour long video. And I was like, that is a horrendous idea to do with a group of people, especially like the DOB server who have very short fuses. Especially in regards to like, when's the next thing? When's the next thing? And you're like, listen, man, I gotta go to the bathroom. I can't be here all the time.
Yeah.
But like, at first there wasn't really a reason for it, and then like it kind of drifted into the RP kind of being in a weird spot and not really wanting to do events for certain reasons outside of my control. And then like us doing this reboot and trying to find ways to like give people something to work with and interact with. And then I guess after doing like the spur of the moment clue game, we all sort of realized that like it was a good idea. Holy shit, this whole time. And then you brought it to my attention, and like the first thing you were like, let's do a diplomacy game for the RP. And I was like, that sounds like a weird idea, and I don't know how that worked. But then as it was explained to me in very little detail, but like still enough where like my brain worked good, I was like, okay, yeah, you know, like have your fun, take your cake and eat it too this one time. And,
this one time, yeah. Pointedly, I didn't chase Raven with like a PDF of the rules, being like, just read how it works. It was broad strokes, elevator pitch type stuff.
Like kind of just like, what if diplomacy? And I'm like, uh-huh. And Alex, you were kind of like, I make map, people move. And I'm like, uh-huh, yeah, so like how diplomacy works. And then I'm like, just you know, like, go ham. And then the next morning I woke up and it was a Google Doc with like 5 pages about the rules and like a whole ass like 2-post long thing with like bolded text and underlined text and links, and I'm like, I've created a monster.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good at what I do here. I'm pretty good at what I do. Not to pat myself on the back too much, but like the rules, those are available online. I had to go through them and change some of the words, and modify some things to make it fit what exactly we're doing. And like to theme it Dawn of Victory-ish with the right color scheme and everything, but now I mentioned this on the first video I did. It was your suggestion, I think, to have it off station, the setting.
Yeah, because I figured something I think we discussed in the town hall or even just amongst ourselves is like the mod team and Alex was like we wanted to expand upon lore outside of the station, and obviously the best way to do that is to do off station stuff, especially since people like ate up the travel to this place, go see and interact with ship, and we have done a lot of like on station stuff, like the town halls are on station, the Clue event was on station, and all of that sort of thing. So it was like maybe and then it was kind of like a, you know, we can do this on station and it would work because we have the roots, and then we could expand lore upon in the roots, or we could do it off station and do it that way. And then I was also kind of like, you know, sitting there and everybody was kind of like coming up with ideas and saying them like in little tidbits, and I'm like, okay, but they like community interaction, so what if ? And I kind of went from there of like, do you guys want it on station or off station? And I remember you and I were both like, wow, it's actually heavily leaning to off station today. And I made a comment like, give it 12 hours, we're both going to go to sleep, we're going to wake up in the morning, and it's either going to be tied or the other one's going to be winning. And lo and behold, here we are.
It was absolute bullshit having a poll set up for the purposes of you and I not needing to make a unilateral decision. Let the people choose, whatever, and then we can say, well, we went with this because you asked for it, kind of as a cop-out, and then the fuckers tied. 38 people voting, both us included, and it tied. And I was watching the last minute tick down, I'm like, I could flip my vote. I could pull it right now. I could break this. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I think it worked out, and people got a kick out of that. So the map itself, you are not running your faction. Well, you are the faction representative for the independent faction, which you all have started referring to yourself as the non-aligned movement again, as has everyone else. So maybe we should just switch to calling that the non-aligned movement again.
I think I call it the non-aligned movement because like it is what it is, and I'm pretty sure out of all the factions that kind of merged, non-aligned movement had the most activity for some reason.
Yeah.
But then everybody's calling it the NAP now instead of the NAM, and I'm like, are they calling it the non-aligned party now instead of the non-aligned movement?
An NAP is a non-aggression pact. So they non-aggression pact is like a ceasefire or a truce between nations. So using that acronym in diplomacy is very confusing when you don't mean non-aggression pact. If you mean non-aligned movement, that's something else entirely.
A non-aligned party. I've seen it. Like I've seen NAP a lot, and in context that makes sense. The non-aggression pact thing makes sense, but also like people are using it in out of character chat to be like, well, let's go talk to the NAP, and then I'm like, well, like they're clearly talking about the non-aligned movement. But, okay.
Yeah, it's the bullshit that drives me crazy with people making up words like skranksy and in the Discord when they're talking about the synfaxing. Just use the fucking words. If you're going to this is typical of us just going off on a random tangent. If you're gonna use an acronym, define the acronym the first time you use it in a conversation. That way it's open to everybody. My point was, you weren't running the game. You aren't running your faction in the game right now, because part of me running this is so you can focus on other shit for the time being, and you playing would really defeat the point, right?
And yet,
And yet you're being super active and you're having a lot of fun with it and you're engaging in conversation in your channel, and it's great to see, but you don't have to, right? It's not feeling like, well, shit, people are going to be mad. It's something you're doing for fun, which is great, which is really, really gratifying. You didn't weigh in on where your faction ended up landing.
no, I
You
did
have the
not.
benefit of hindsight now. Um, how do you
Ugh.
feel about these landing areas and how this ended up happening? Like, what? It's a
Okay.
fucking mess, right? But
You know, having had no say in where things landed,
mhm.
I'm not mad about it.
It could be
um,
worse.
had I had the ability to choose placing, I probably would have probably had some sort of discussion and been like, "Hey guys, like the event just started. Let's all work something out because obviously, being a non-aligned movement representative, um, which I'm just gonna start calling us nanas for short because
Ugh.
we're, you know, we're equal opportunity party, and like we're watching over the children, so that makes us
I
their
hate
nana.
it, but okay, it's your faction.
um, but so like I probably would have gone and like you said in your stream yesterday that I didn't know was happening and wish I would have because that would have been fun to sit in the chat and bitch with you. Um, but like I probably had I had more of an active hand, like in being the representative of the nanas, like in more than just name in the role play, but also in this specific instance, I
Mhm.
probably would have been like, "Hey, everybody, this new game has started. Let's talk about it. Where do you want to put your pieces?" And
Mhm.
then with that information, people could have either been total cucks or they could have worked things out. But like with the excitement of an event and nobody really talking until the pieces were placed
Yeah.
and deals needed to be made, that didn't happen. But having assumed that, like from the get go, before you added it, that like you could move up to. I think you can move up to like 9 from 36. I don't know if it's only up and down and sideways, but like knowing that you can move from spot to spot
Mhm. Mhm.
like that, I'm glad that we have the opportunity to have the entire eastern and western front on the entire lower half of the map. That's always a plus, strategically and otherwise, especially since like the pieces are really close together.
Yeah.
Um, like honestly, from that start, like and after you had mentioned it, like I had like a whole bunch of ideas of like name suggestions and stuff about like having 43 and 33 be called like the two sisters or something,
Yeah.
something cute like that. But
I mean, today's order, y'all can submit those names. I know you have more important stuff to be focusing on right now, but that's you can add that.
but yeah, but yeah, I'm happy with the placement.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wouldn't change anything from the initial
Yeah.
landing.
I think Thorn's initial choice of going 43, 44, 45 was a pretty good setup. Pretty good. I gave you all 33 for the clue event W. Be like, here's a little something. And the attitude after this came out was full disclosure, you as an admin can see all of the other channels as well
Yeah.
because of your job, and we've taken away Nami, who is running the Comintern, you took away Nami's ability to see all the other
Well,
factions.
yeah, because Nami behind the scenes was like, I so badly want to go and peek in the other channels, and like, I know he has self control, so he most assuredly
Mm-hmm.
didn't. But then one day when he was least expecting it, I was just kind of like, yoink! There you go. Now you
Yeah.
can't see shit.
No, Nami is trustworthy, but also it's just very funny being like, you know what? Just gonna take this temptation away from you. But as you're well aware, the the biggest thing defining this first movement that we're not even to yet was the Axis freaking the fuck out because of
Right.
this bounce that happened in 36, 48, 38 of the common turn and Axis both picking these 3 landing spots, and the fictional narrative being that they got in a bit of a scuffle over it.
Right.
The whole little crusade that the Axis are like, we gotta go wipe out the common turn, they're gonna get too big, and they're gonna get too big, and the non-aligned movement is terrifying. And then we go to the actual orders, this first move, and Thorn, your strategist, was in a tricky spot. Thorn stayed up super late for this build order, had been asking if anybody else wanted the role all day, had gotten a dial tone, and was like, fuck it, I guess I'll do it. Which is the way that you end up with responsibility generally. Other people don't step up and you panic at the last minute. So Thorn was still awake that first night. This is like 2 or 3 in the morning, I think, when your orders got submitted. Super early. Let's see. Yeah, 1 in the morning. Yeah, 1 in the morning.
Right.
So 3 hours since the first orders came in. I don't follow what the rationale was here, and you weren't around to contribute in this conversation to like this supported move into 34. I got questions. I got so many questions, but
on which, sorry?
This is the first move. So the first move was your unit in 45 moving up to 34, being supported by the unit in 33.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in 34, and that opens up 45, which gets taken advantage of here.
Yeah.
Rough, tricky, awkward. And meanwhile, you have the problem of the sphere start moving only in your direction over here.
Yeah.
It's this is a really scary start to the game for you all, and I think this is where you started being more active this morning.
It wasn't this. I think it was yesterday because.
Yeah. This is yesterday morning.
We have no track of time, so But yeah, I started being more active because I was seeing in the out of character chat and everywhere that was holy shit, who fucking put the first move? And then I looked on the map and I was like, oh god, it was us. What the fuck happened? He clearly needs someone to talk to here, so I might as well be that person.
Yeah.
To be quite frank, personally, at the end of the day, don't take this as an in-character statement and or a statement that should be taken as anything but a grain of salt. But I don't care at the end of the day who wins this shit.
Yeah.
So, I don't have that deep of an investment, but also I'm not gonna let someone be trampled over and have their experience ruined. I'm not,
Yeah.
And from what I've been seeing and what you've been seeing in the chat is I wake up in the morning and the orders are there and I click into the channel and Thorn has the exact same fucking ideas as I do after I look at the map. So he knows what he's doing,
Yeah.
for sure, and like I'll give him props for that. I think that first move was um because like from all of like what was going on, people didn't know that you needed to basically be on a space to like produce a unit. It could have been that he thought that maybe it was a one turn only thing, because usually in diplomacy you have like the one turn to do like your supports and whatever, and then like another unit spawns like the next turn. So maybe he was thinking to open that up based off of like the rules.
If I
Um,
remember correctly, they were talking about like a demilitarized zone between the two of them. So what you graciously allowed the strategist, the players elected by their faction or chosen by their faction to play as the player, they're allowed to directly message one another. So there's a whole layer to this that we are not seeing, and that we only
so
get through
sad.
like screenshots that people post in chats to keep their faction informed. So this whole fucking shenanigans down here was the Axis were screaming about like, oh, we gotta take out the common term before they get too big. We gotta panic, 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 and really didn't mention anything about this demilitarized zone at all. Didn't say a word about it. Just like, oh yeah, we want a peaceful, stable border here between us, and then attacked. so
Yeah.
it looks like Thorn was like, oh, okay, I'll just like move and make a solid line, and we can sit here. And I think the Axis wanted the border to be you being 33 and 34, and them being 34 and 35 or 45.
Which would have been to their detriment, because they wouldn't have had a unit spawned today, or whenever it was, if they would have stayed outside and in a empty movement box. But like, I feel like, yeah, I don't know why there was so much, like, I don't know if it was like a miscommunication, or maybe it was like blind distrust or something. I don't know why the Axis and our side felt the need to support movements, when if that was something that was even like very shortly agreed upon, you don't need to waste a turn of another unit supporting something if both parties agree that movement is fine. You know, like,
Yeah, I think there was just a lot of panic here. It's hard to say, right? Thorn was very apologetic about, yeah, I fucked up, yeah, I fucked up, yeah, I fucked up.
yeah.
So I don't want to
Sorry,
harp.
mommy, sorry.
Don't want to harp too much on. Yeah, Raven walks in the room and everybody goes, oh, mommy, sorry, Yeah, that's absolutely what happens. Totally. Not anything different. So move
Yeah.
2. No, not move 2. Resolve 1. So this is the beginning of the second movement. Units have moved. You all got pushed out of 45, but hey, you took 34. You have 32. 43 wasn't taken. And you didn't have... This was the turn, or the movement turn, or phase. I keep using the word turn instead of phase. This with the movement phase where that crazy batshit idea about moving the non-aligned movement up to like the middle of the top came out from, again, the Axis player, which
I didn't even pay very much attention to what the fuck was going on there. Like,
yeah,
like I just heard that there was supposed to be like some sort of like big movement, but like I didn't realize that they wanted us to go from like 15 to 24. I thought it was like a, let's, push Otto up into the middle, have us like do a hop, skip, and a jump through the gaps of Axis, be left alone by Sphere, and just take residence in like 26 to 50.
Yeah,
That's what I
no.
thought it was. I didn't realize it was supposed to be all the way up the fuck there. Like, how the hell is that gonna happen?
It was literally a, Alex, can you do some GM bullshit and allow them to redeploy? And I'm like, I can do that if for the next 2 movement phases, you, the sphere, who I know are in on this, and the non-aligned movement all do nothing. If you all do nothing and say that you're dedicating your resources to, you know, actually making this huge effort to move these, we can do that. And, you know, we ran into some speed bumps with, again, the Axis player getting a little ahead of themselves, being like, oh, I want to start RPing out, role-playing how this is going to work. I'm like, whoa, you haven't even gotten the green light from the people that you're moving, that they agree to be moved yet. Let's slow down a little bit. And it was tentatively agreed on, right?
Yeah, like we didn't even really fully agree to the idea.
Yeah, I'm
like
being careful to not share what specifically was being said or how strongly convicted you were in agreeing or not agreeing.
I'm not giving
I just
any like sort of like
I just
like,
want to make a point that I'm not.
Yeah. So like for us, it wasn't like I wouldn't use the word tentative agreement. It was more like a we were sitting there getting this information of like, here's an idea for you, and we were just kind of like sitting on the idea more than like a tentative agreement, I guess. But like also, it's a game of diplomacy. I have no doubt in my mind that Axis and Sphere behind the scenes were probably also discussing other plans and moves that they could make, and like we're not gonna not do that. So it was kind of like here's an idea. Alex said that we could all do this, and we were like, okay, sure, okay. But also, like, we have a really good position on the board here, so we're gonna think about this one.
Yeah, like, why would you trust this offer from the Axis and the Sphere? This seems like it would just be a trick to get you to do nothing so that they could then take 43 from you, potentially take 32 and 43 from you, potentially, take out your unit in 34 here because it'd be unable to retreat, or like do some other bullshit. It doesn't feel like a genuine offer when the Axis is sitting in one of your starting territories and didn't offer that as a hey, I'll step back, we'll pause, you'll move, then I'll take this back. Like it seemed like a shitty deal.
Initiative made. And to like also add to that, like it wasn't a thing of like an agreement where it would be like, as people do it, with non-aligned movement being the last one to agree and then move. Like there was nothing guaranteeing that as they made that move that you were coming to the non-aligned movement chat and being like, hey, just wanted to let you know, Axis has held their end of the deal. So-and-so has held their end of the deal. Like, there was none of that. And, like, first of all, that would ruin it. And, like, so, this is a game of, you gotta kind of protect yourself. So, yeah, that's where we were when we saw the map initially like this and got that sort of
pointedly
deal.
Like, I announce when-ish orders are submitted and how many total orders have been submitted. I do not name by who. I don't say what they are, right? All orders get resolved simultaneously, but just as a pressure and somebody's acted, somebody else has acted, because that's also an opportunity for our players to lie to one another and say, hey, my order's already in. I'm locked in. Like, it was me. I'm the one.
Or say that it wasn't them,
Yeah, or no, I haven't committed yet.
Hey, it's everything from, hey, we made this agreement, I've locked in on this agreement, to, I wonder who it was that submit. We haven't locked in because we're still in negotiations. But let's
Mm-hmm.
continue our chat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all about that secrecy and shit. Whereas, like, in a real diplomacy game, for one thing, people don't have, you know, actual chat logs about it. All that you have is like a Discord server with several voice chats, and people are talking, and it's all fucking word of mouth. There's no like,
Well,
so and so has turned in their order yet. It's just you have a piece of paper, you write down your orders, and you wait till the turn phase that is up on a timer.
there's so many variants of diplomacy. Like, diplomacy originally is a board game from Hasbro, because Hasbro makes fucking everything, including Ouija boards. Hasbro's it's all spoken. It's all spoken in a group. There's no private talks. It's all open communication. And you don't walk away from the board or like text each other. It's all just spoken aloud.
That's because they wanted those games to not take any longer than an hour.
They still take a long fucking time. So that's an open comms game. What those look like on a Discord server is just having a room where everybody talks, and they're not allowed to talk outside of that. So all negotiation has to happen in there, and everybody can see it. Then you have open press, I'm sorry, is what that's called. Then full press is where people are able to privately message each other and publicly, and there's a mixture of the two, which is what we have right now. We have like full press plus, because we have people talking in private, plus them coordinating with other people, helping them plan, plus them talking about it in public.
To clarify, the game that I've seen most, like, because again, my experience with this is only watching YouTube videos, was a group of friends on Tabletop Simulator with the map laid out in front of them and all of their pieces. There's a main Discord chat, like voice chat, where everybody goes, and like there's like a timer that's set that goes off that you have to be back in that chat by for every phase. But there's separate voice chats that like, you know, there's the main voice chat, and then you know, a person can be like, hey, Germany, I want to pull you into a separate voice chat for a minute, is that okay? Like, you know, doing that sort of thing, and then they go into the separate voice chat, but anybody at any time can join that voice chat. So you have to also be like very careful with your words, not only in talking to the other person that you're privately speaking to in a private voice chat, but also keeping in mind that everybody can see who you're talking to, and anybody could join in the middle of you saying that, like, you know, you want to take out their country. So you have to be very careful with your words, because if you're like rambling on like how I'm rambling on right now, and you're not stopping talking to take a breath, and someone joins and they're like, hey, and then you're like, oh yeah, let's kill Germany, and they're like, ah! You know,
The social aspect is such a fun element of this, and I like how many different variations there are. I think it's a lot of fun. Our model, I can't wait until this weekend. So something we have going on with the roleplay, because we have elected representatives of the factions, and there's station board politicking going on with bills and amendments and just mostly in character stuff. We have not had an ongoing event while we've had one of those before. This will be the first time, and people have already begun to leverage, hey, if you support my bill, I'll back you here, or I'll have my, you know, strategist help you here, or if you attack me, I'm going to bring up a censorship of you in front of the board meeting on Saturday or whatever. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, the screenshot stuff. Oh my god, the screenshot stuff.
So the screenshot stuff is someone started posting screenshots of direct messages they were having with somebody else, and didn't seem to check with the other person if it was okay if they did that first, which Raven understandably was like, are we cool with this? This seems like a problem. I'm like, yeah, fuck them. Yeah, like, this is on them if they everything that they're saying in direct messages is a matter of record, so they can share it, and it's at their own risk. And was it you that brought up the idea of people faking screenshots?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about it and I was like, I mean, they're allowed, but just keep in mind, like, a screenshot is a screenshot, and a screenshot can be edited. And then I had taken a picture, or not taken a picture. So what I did was, and for anybody listening right now who's playing the game, take notes. That this might happen to you, or might have already happened. Just for the record. But I went on the browser version and went into it, inspect elements, and changed what you said, and then took a picture of what I said that you said.
Yep, yeah. Raven did it to me as an example, and I'm like, I'm in, I'm down, 100%. Lie to each other. Go ahead, because this is a Cold War setting, and people falsifying documents. Yeah, sure, that would happen. Do you want to falsify documents? Go ahead, but if you get caught, it really tarnishes how much you're trusted for the rest of this game and maybe the rest of the roleplay. Like, your actions here will have social ramifications, and something that...
The thing about it is too, like, for example, if the Nanas were, having a conversation with someone and they wanted to, twist the narrative or whatever, they could edit the screenshots, and then while whoever's screenshot that they had with whatever could send it to the party if the party was made aware and discussed it with them, it's basically their word against each other, because at the same time as Nana sending the screenshot of what they said being potentially, like, whatever, it could be an edited screenshot, the person that's then defending themselves could have also edited the screenshot to prove that it wasn't what they said to suit the narrative. So, screenshots, again, like I was saying in the chat, you can do it. You can screenshot conversations, but then also just know that if you screenshot conversations and use that as evidence and proof, not only could you be a potential editor of the message, but if the other person is talked to follow up and confirm, they can edit the message to make you look like a prick and like you're starting to start stuff. So it's easier to just do it by word of mouth and go solely based off of merit than it is visuals.
Yeah, 100%. I like the the complexity that it causes. I'm not reading the wall of text right now in out of character discussion. I'm sure it's interesting, but nope, not getting sidetracked right now. I was just gonna post an update, a 12-hour notification here in a few minutes. So things started getting messy immediately. Interesting in roleplay, messy on the board, good fun shit.
Yeah.
Then we had these moves for move 2, and you were involved with strategizing.
Yeah, here we go, baby.
So this is, we can see the axis and the sphere. The circles mean that you aren't taking move, or you're taking the hold action. They all take the hold action because they're like, okay, this deal we talked about is on, even though it's under duress, and it's not really a fair deal if it's under duress. Deal's on, and you all, I think rightfully, didn't trust that there was a deal at all, and acted as if there was no deal, because why would you believe them if they took something from you and then said, all right, time out, we're good now. Somebody punches you and then is like, oh, I'm done.
Like,
no.
We realized with like the Axis taking our thing that like this was more of like an olive branch, but also there was the seed of doubt of, do they want us to move to make themselves more secure without us being there?
Yeah. I do believe, especially in hindsight, and especially with being able to read the various chats, that the Sphere and the Axis were genuine in their desire to see this through, to peacefully relocate you all. The thing is, if you hadn't moved and you had relocated, you would have relocated 3 supply centers, not 4, because you would have lost one of your landing zones in 45, and it was only your landing zones getting moved. So you would have been moved, but knocked down to 3 units. Again,
yeah, that wasn't even something I had considered.
Yeah, I had gamed it out, and I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, you get to live, but then you become somebody else's problem, and your ability to grow up here to keep up with the rate of expansion of the Comintern and Oto, I think you just end up in the same problem. Sandwiched between 2 bigger factions, well, 2 other factions, except with the Comintern and Oto, both of them are bigger than you. Right now, one-on-one, you're larger than the Sphere. You're larger than the Axis. Combined, it's a 6-on-4?
It's also, like, a very good place that, like, you know, like, if anything were to happen to us, we're not pinned to one spot. If something happens to the east, we can move our western units to the east. If something happens in the west, we can move our eastern units to the, vice versa. But you can't really do that if you're grouped into one big old, like, circle jerk.
Yeah, 100%. Where you are right now is more defensible. Like, 3 tall, 2 tall, but where you were being talked about being moved to, you have to defend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces up here. That's obscene. That's so much space.
Yeah, we have to worry about, like, I'm assuming they wanted to move us to 15 to 18.
I think that was.
I didn't read the orders, but if that were the case, it was like we'd have to worry about 9 as an encroaching thing. Then we'd have to worry about 10 to 14. Then we have to worry about 19 to 21.
It's not really an upgrade. Yeah.
I'd rather worry about, like 31, 32, 42, 43, 52, 53 to like 34 and 45. That's it.
Yeah. I think there was some merit to the idea, but like, it needed more cooking. It needed more time in the oven, and it failed. And you all push back, and the Sphere and the Axis have been furious about this, feeling betrayed, which is, I guess, understandable. From their position.
Feel the betrayal of the taking back what is ours after a betrayal.
I'll say this. The Sphere have not attacked you yet. They haven't. They have not attacked you. Have not attacked them. They have not attacked you. And maybe if Thorn is talking to the Sphere, I know as a matter of fact that no, the conversation between the two aren't going that friendly, but like you could leverage that. You could say, hey, we haven't started fighting. I don't want to fight you. I'm busy over here. Let's just back off. Maybe, no blood has been spilled. But the Axis definitely came in swinging. And so them being like, how dare you? I'm genuinely hurt is... I don't know, man.
Like,
that feels like not being self-aware.
That was a bit much for me. That... Especially since we weren't doing a triple support action on them. We weren't, like, pinning them and killing them. It was just pushing their unit back and retaking the point. That's
you didn't do
what it was.
What I thought you should do, which is move 34 to 46, so that this couldn't retreat. Attacked 45 from 44, support that attack from 33. So not only would you take 45 back, you then take their landing zone in 46, and you destroy a unit simultaneously.
Yeah, so, like, that's my thing. It's like, I don't understand what the big hubbub of, like, you're fucking betrayers. You killed our people. My name is Diego Montora. you killed my father, prepare to die kind of
Yeah.
like attitude when it's like, bro, no, we didn't. Like, we just had your units push back. That's it.
You got so lucky that this wasn't worse. You
it wasn't even luck. I didn't even think of that. So like
I know. I talked about this in the video I did when I was walking through Alex's ideas for best moves. Is my moves are all hyper aggressive, and that's the kind of player I am. Is look, this is a real politic game, and I don't have any reason to trust any of you fucks. So if I can stab, I'm probably going to stab unless we've established a rapport. And right now, my trust in your position, my trust of the Axis would be in the negative. Yeah. The sphere, I'd be maybe willing to try to de-escalate, but not believe that it would really happen. And I'd be like, well, okay, the Comintern and Oto are really my only hope, but I don't trust them because they haven't done anything yet. And we can move on from this move to the current board state. This is after the build last night that we skipped over really quickly because all this was automated except for the sphere. I had them pick where their one build went. This is the state it's in now. You've retaken your landing post. You're up to 5 instead of 4, but you are surrounded by 4 sphere on one side and 2 Axis on the other. And that's that's spooky.
Yeah. I mean, shrug emoji.
Shrug emoji. What are you gonna do, right? I don't want to ask what you're thinking about doing here. What do you think the OTO and the Comintern are up to? Let's talk about them because they're pretty removed. I don't want you broadcasting or signaling what you think the people you were ostensibly about to go to war with are thinking, because that betrays your thinking. Let's talk about the people that you're completely neutral to right now, that you couldn't hurt each other if you wanted to. What do you think's going on with Nami and the Comintern and with Dank User
so what you're
and
asking
OTO?
is, what are they talking about behind the scenes that I can't see? There's a detail I can't really talk about. About my thoughts about them.
Okay. Yep. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
There's a few. Yeah. There's a few things that we can't talk about. Yeah.
The thing about it at the end of the day, and this is not saying anything to wrestle any jimmies. This is just a general statement. The board as a whole would have been better off with 4 players.
You're all way too tightly clustered, and
like,
this is on the players. Like I talked about, and I showed the fucking board layout I made for the other one. I'm like, all right, we're gonna spread everybody out. It's gonna be nice and easy. I don't want people getting too clustered. I don't want anyone eliminated super early on. This is the board that this is the board state, and you all start at least a little distant from each other. But no. This was your fucking doing. I didn't have a hand in it. Well, not yours. Theirs.
No,
their
I
doing.
mean, like, if it were a situation where I don't want to give people ideas, so I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. I'll DM you about it later.
It's so hard, right? Like I decided when I was doing mine, I'm like, fuck it. I talked to some people in a private chat about, like, if I were playing, what would I do? I might as well just tell everyone what I would do. That way it's not privileged information. Nobody's taking advantage of it because it's, well, Alex, you're not playing the game. And I'm telling Nami, in character, attack 48 every single fucking move turn that we've had, and Nami hasn't done it. So clearly, the players aren't listening to me even when I am weighing in. So that should be evident
for
here.
Me, if it was for like 4 teams or 4 players, one could go north, one could go mid, one could go east, one could go west, and then a simple solution would be like, let's fill out the board, fill out the mining districts, call it a day, draw, then everybody equally can fucking leave and have their cake and eat it too. And then it's an event of, hey, look, we're showing the Freeport administration that we can, be in peace. But no, instead, I woke up this morning to people threatening military action, and last night, from like a nap, and the Freeport administration had something to fucking say about that, and rightfully so. And I'm like, stop your shit. And then immediately after, someone was also posting stuff about like betrayal and war and military, and I'm like, oh fuck, for fuck's sakes, fuck.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, who's posting that? We can call out who's posting that. The Sphere and the Axis are drumming up those drums of war and rattling those sabers. It's their characters being like, well, we gotta kill them now. We're the real victims here. Like, and that started turn 1 with the drop sites in 36, 48, and 38 bouncing. I described it as an exchange of fire with no loss of life. I made it pretty clear. All right, this first one, nobody died. It's a gimme. Things are a little tense, but you both backed off. And the Axis is like, well, we gotta kill the Comintern.
We have bodies! There's bodies everywhere!
I've said blood spilled, maybe? I think I haven't even said that. We can check.
Yeah, but blood spilled doesn't mean, like
doesn't mean that somebody's necessarily dead. It could be that somebody's wounded. It's a
thing of, like, verbiage of, like, when you play a video game and it's like, oh, there was blood spilled, but it really just means that one person came out hurt from the exchange,
pointedly,
not that people are, like, fucking injured.
I haven't even used the word blood. Exchange fire, no loss of life. Maneuvering along, seizing vital infrastructure, and launch a successful counteroffensive. But no talks about losses yet, because mechanically, no one's actually lost a unit yet. And we haven't made it clear, are these individual people? No. Are these, like, small groups of people? Maybe. Are these dozens of people? Hundreds of people? Thousands? I don't think it's thousands. It might be dozens. It could be hundreds, but I'm thinking dozens. I'm thinking these are small groups with, like, maybe just now the Comintern and the Oto having 100 or so people each.
But, like, the way that I explained it, right? Like, because I took a stab at, like, figuring out how it could be that, like, a whole fucking factory moves without intervention from, like, another thing, and I was like, the planet has an orbit, stuff might move, the gravity might be dire in a certain place. Sometimes people just need to scooch over, and maybe they scooch too far into your territory, and then you have to scooch over, and that's, in my mind, what happened on 45. It wasn't like someone took a giant rock and slammed it into their camp kind of thing, killing, the entire populace. But
I imagined, like, okay, these are mostly volunteers, so these are just workers, and they'll have a security detail, because you would. So it's like a small, non-dedicated security detail, and mostly a bunch of laborers. And yeah, you can turn that into a fighting force, and I think narratively we're starting to see that happening. But if these aren't laborers first and foremost, then these extractors, these extraction sites, we can assume are mostly automated. We don't need to have thousands of people toiling away on this little asteroid. But these are engineers going down to set these things up. These are engineers with security details, maybe, but there's certainly no, like, armored vehicles on the fucking asteroid right now. It's like, maybe some rifles, maybe, it's a very loose moving border, and it'll probably happen soon, I think, in this turn, where we have our first actual casualty, and that's something that I'll have to talk about and to start detailing what that looks like.
It's not that I have, like, I'm trying to, like, word this in a way that doesn't make it sound like I'm, contributing to it anyway, because I'm not, because I don't get the final call of what orders go out from who or where.
Yeah.
But I almost hope that there's a casualty this round.
Yeah, me too.
Like, God, fuck.
I have a really hard time imagining that no one will lose anything. I'm amazed nobody lost anything the first time with how close you all started with to each other. There's no way that continues now unless the Axis just say, all right, we give up. We're just gonna hold what we have and we give up. And you do the same, and the sphere does the same, and everybody's content to let the commenter and an OTO just sweep over the map. I don't see that going over well.
If things went differently and someone had, like, a start where they were scattered all across the fucking board.
Yeah, nobody did that.
Could you imagine if, like, Axis had 46 and, like, Comintern had 45, 35, 36, and, like, 48, all, like, as a deployment, how fucked that would have been.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Axis' other units were at, like, 13 and, like, 31.
I guess that's the appeal of why players decided, oh, I gotta cluster all mine right next to each other so they're more defensible. But in my mind, if you spread out, that's kind of defensible too. That way you can't be wiped out all in one go, and you're not committed to one front. That maybe if there's room to grow, you'll find it more easily that way. But
the thing that we
it's
have
a gamble.
The thing that we have too that regular diplomacy doesn't get, as far as I'm aware, is that you can't go from north to south or east to west in some boards.
No, it's just Europe. Yeah, it's just Europe, and Europe doesn't wrap around. Yeah.
So you have, like, the water on,
which
like,
we
the
don't have.
left side, and on the bottom left side, and then you have a chunk of land on the regular map that just goes up into, like, the corner of the board. So you have to go from wherever you are, travel across water for, like, however many turns, go onto the land somehow, unless it's landlocked, and then travel back into the water to go back down to the center right side of the map.
I didn't want navies for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's an asteroid. What water are we gonna have here? I threw around the idea of, well, I can use, like, shuttles or something like that as a stand-in, but then I have to make them make sense somehow, and I don't know that I can do that in a balanced way. I had some ideas, but it just felt like way too much work to try to make it kind of sort of make sense, so I decided, fuck it, I'm not doing it. And on this other one, on the station map, no way are we getting, I mean, maybe shuttles there too, and, like, they can only move around the outside of the map.
Shuttles would have made more sense because you could have, like, at least in this situation for, like, the station one, you could have had things that have, like, airlocks leading to the outside that the shuttles can go into.
Yeah, but anything on the outside of the map was what I was thinking, but then I'm like, is that really fair? I don't know, but that's something to think about.
From someone to go to Discord to the Rust Yard would take, like, a 3-turn journey, so they'd have to get rid of 3 of their turns.
Yeah. It took me a while to figure out where the hell Discord was. I'm like, I made this map and I don't even know where that is. I'd need to drawing like a C zone is like 3 big or whatever. And pointedly, like the original draft for what I wanted was this. Was like just it being a VR sim game, not a real place, that was like replaying a historic battle that players could do for fun. That way it wasn't real violence. It wasn't real violence on the station. People could like compete and maybe there'd be a prize, but you know, the stakes are entirely fictional. And they get to make up some history while they play. And this does have like spaceports and a whole mechanic I had, and I'd run this still, but this is much more like the traditional version.
Even after just seeing these last few days, I don't know that they would be able to handle a map like that.
Well, that's why we're starting out with simpler ones, and we work up to it, right?
I want to see shit happen.
I want to see some fuckers bleed. Damn, like, Raven.
I have my theories of where and what Sphere are gonna do this next turn, and I have my theories. Well, no, I don't really have theories of what Otto and Comet. They're too fucking quiet. Can you get them to talk?
They're so quiet. Like we talk a little in the Zarya sector, but it's mostly like Nami being like, "Here's my idea." I give feedback. And then No Man gives feedback, and that's it. We don't have a conversation about it. We also, in Zarya sector, unlike all you other fucking try-hard losers who are just talking out of character, we talk in character over there, and we write whole fucking paragraphs, because of course the communists do. I told them today, hey, you don't have to do this. We can talk out of character if it's easier for you all. So ours is super abbreviated. Liberty sector? Crickets. Like, the players super vague about, well, I have ideas, I have plans, let's wait and see. And not sharing any of that. And not opening up the board. Dank, that's on you, bud. You're the representative. If that's how you want to do it, all they can do is vote you out at the end of the month if they don't like how you performed. There's no other appeal, so if that's how you want to run it, Godspeed. But Kibo, Edelweiss, and Harmony have been popping off with collaboration and scheming and what do you think about this? Well, I think this. What do you think about this? Well, I don't like that. And it's been really cool to watch.
I just have like one of those. I'm having an Alex moment right now where there's like a very, very obvious glaring move on the lower eastern side of the map, and I think you might also see it too.
Yeah.
That they should be doing.
Yeah.
But like I don't know if I should say it out loud.
Well, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about my bad takes. Let's contextualize it as talking about Alex's bad idea for what people should be doing. This way, you don't have to take any ownership. This is what I think the Axis should do. I think they should push into 45. And I think you could hold it, but I think that's what they gotta try to do. I don't see much else for them. They could move into 34, I guess, as a preparation to moving into 45 and supporting it from both of these. But again, like, the value of taking this, I think is a mistake. I think this is a vulnerability. So I don't know, the Axis, I don't have a lot for them. I think they can try and push, and it probably won't work. Or they can try to leave, and then they're up against two giants who outnumber them, that will not respond well to them moving units eastward. So they gotta keep trying to move west, but they can't.
so many fucking thoughts about this that I don't want to have a hand in saying anything. And everybody's like, "Oh, Ray had a good idea or a good thought."
Well,
as
okay,
far
okay,
as
Raven.
Alex's stuff went.
I'm going to schedule this so it goes up tomorrow after the next update. So by the time this goes live, this turn will have happened.
It's so much easier
If that
we were
helps.
like recording this and not having it on Twitch.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
'cause
fucking
anybody
nobody's
could
watching
join
on
at any
Twitch.
times.
Nobody's watching on Twitch. You're fine.
Fuck. Okay.
Quick,
Well,
quick,
you know,
quick, Twitch.
if anybody does these moves and says anything in the chats about, hey, Ray brought up
Oh,
a good
no.
point in Alex's stream today, we'll know that you're fucking metagaming. I think Axis are fucked. Not even like their attention is on the wrong people. Turn around, sisters. As far as like,
yeah,
I disagree with the sphere move personally that you have in your brain.
Yeah.
Mostly because you are aggressive, and what you're playing is aggressive. I think it should be 31 to 41, 52 to 51, 53 to 52 to be able to stay there, hold their position next turn, and get additional units, assuming that Otto makes some kind of move wherein 29 is freed up. Or at least holding their position until they can make any diplomatic moves with someone.
I have projected that Mikey won't do that because Mikey seems to trust that the spear won't do it, because Mikey moved away from 41 when there was an auto unit in 29 up to 31. He abandoned this entirely, trusting that he wouldn't get stabbed. And he didn't get stabbed. The unit went up to 24. So I think Mikey might be like, well, this 29 will go up to 25, then it'll be up here, and it'll just focus on the north. It's not gonna stab me, but in my mind, Otto absolutely should be stabbing. The OTO can immediately gain 1 or 2 points here, taking it from a player, and firmly establish themselves as being the kingmaker over here, in a strong defensive position over here, and at least present up here.
So here's another moving from the sphere, and I'll come back to Axis later. I think Otto should be going to 38 from 38 to 48, and Comintern and supporting themselves with 27, and then Comintern gives them a hand as a support. Because I don't think that Comintern needs to worry about moving up from the north into the south with how much space that they fucking have. And if they're keeping like a quiet, neutral opinion, that would be the best move for them, in my opinion, is to allow Otto to take a 48. And I know that you put that Comintern should get it because you're a part of Comintern.
No, it's a 50-50 split. It's a 50-50 split the way I drew it. A proposal. It's a little out, but these 3 plus all of these would be half of the provinces, and then everything else would be half the provinces. That's why I showed it like that. But I think you're right. That Nami's way more likely to be like, hey, if you attack, I'll support you, but I'm not going to attack. I think Nami is a much more slow burn kind of player with what they have in mind here. Couldn't be me.
So, like, the reason that, like, again, I think it should be Otto taking that spot. And I think Comintern should be focusing their efforts of, if you head over to the north side of the board,
scroll up, yeah. Yeah, totally.
I don't have to say anything more than that.
Yeah.
Move their shit to like start capturing more points. I think south.
South. Scroll down.
I think
I'll just zoom
For
out.
Axis to continue their stupid conflict when there is very glaring stuff like 2 tiles over is a obnoxiously stupid move. I think they're targeting the wrong person.
Yeah.
And if they continue to target the nanas, it's gonna catch up to them.
Yeah.
Like it already very obviously is going to right away.
I think the sphere is something to be afraid of. I don't think the Axis are something to be afraid of right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm not gonna say anything in terms. I'm not gonna say anything in terms to the nanas because I know I'm directly gonna fucking accidentally go flip. But yeah, no. I think the best move for everybody involved is auto and common turn taking an Axis unit. Axis, if they see it coming, defending 48 with 36.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have
so
to,
that
right?
It bounces. And just holding on 35 and 46.
If they can't hold 48 if Otto and the common turn want them out. If it's just the common turn attacking, 36 and 48 would tie with 55 and 56. But if 38 gets involved, you lose. It's a 3-on-2, and 3 beats 2. And your Axis should be wheeling and dealing with the OTO. And with the common turn, honestly.
Yeah. They either need to, like, do the 36 to 48 and hope for the best that it's not going to be a 3-unit attack.
Yeah.
Or, like, vacate 48 so that their unit can survive. And then just hold position. And I would even go as far as to say 48 to 47, 46 defends 47. Or 36 defends 47. Because you never know. And common turn could come and be like, lol JK, this was a fear-mongering tactic. We're actually going to attack 47 with support from 46 this round, and you're still gonna die.
Yeah, I think...
And even if they moved up to 37, Otto could do the exact same fucking thing. Because they have the support that they would need.
If Axis pulled out of 48, moving into... Let's say 35 goes to 34, 36 goes to 35, 48 goes to 36. And they just make it clear, okay, I'm pulling out. I'm demilitarizing this. I don't want no heat. I definitely can't take a 2-front conflict here, so I'm pulling the unit out to show I'm not a threat. Look at how submissive I'm being. And I'm focusing over here. I'm not your problem. That could work. I don't think either of these players want to get into a fight if they don't have to. Because they don't have to.
Yeah,
So, it's on the onus of your player to negotiate with Common Turn and Oto to get them involved. And it's on Axis and Sphere to talk with both of them to not get involved. And, it's, OTO have a lot to gain by getting involved. Common Turn have a little bit to gain by getting involved. They don't stand to lose a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Common Turn does kill units at the bottom of the board, they can just retreat back up north and then give Otto something more to capture so they have more time.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have to hold it forever. They could just take it from the Axis and then give it to somebody else.
Because, like, the thing is, right now, if Axis loses 48, they won't be gaining any units next go.
Nope.
And it's going to be 3. And then it's going to be another situation where, okay, let's do some foresight here, okay? 38 moves to 48, takes out the Axis unit entirely, okay? Axis stays where they are. Otto can move 27 to 26, 38 to... oh no, they wouldn't be able to make 38 to 37. But they could basically pinch the entire wall from 26 to 55, and Comintern could go 47, 40, 54, which would pinch them even more, and
Yep.
then all they would have to go to is 34 as an available space.
Yep.
And I could, the Nom, theoretically, if that's what happens, could, like, hit them with the double, and they
Yeah.
either have to support 34 or risk Comintern double attacking 46 or 36, or as well as Otto also
Yeah.
simultaneously potentially taking 36. So what it could be is, again, they're at 34, Nom could go and double attack 34, and then they have no defense. They're at 46, Comintern could go and double attack 46, and then that unit's gone. They're at 36 or 35, Otto could move in, double attack with support from themselves, and then they're completely gone off the board.
So what they have to do right now is demonstrate and make an argument to the two that right now can start steamrolling them why they're a better neighbor than a target. And I don't know that they've been talking about that. I don't know that they've been trying to sell that at all.
They've been showing way too much public support for Sphere, and I'm pretty sure there's been talkings about other things going on with other people that has kind of put a target on their back.
Yeah.
But they're also, like I said, they're attacking the wrong person, because regardless, at the end of the day, Nom, we're covered on all fronts. No one can fucking hit us. We're stuck, but we're okay. At the at the end of it all, my prediction is that Otto and Comintern, just to get the extra slots, are going to take out Axis and Sphere, and we're going to be secure enough where, they still won't be able to take us out. Nor will they probably want to, because then it'll be enough room for them to expand, and they'll potentially, for the RP side of things, be like, hey, cool, let's have a draw where you guys can have 5 slots, we don't care, and we'll be like, hug, Neo.
They can vote on a draw, I think, next build order is when people can start voting on a draw. They need to have total controlled at least 22 supply, which they didn't have last time. You have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. It isn't 22. What's the fucking number, Alex? Oh, I have this written down somewhere. One person needs to have 22 or a total number of yes votes equaling 22. Plus 1 for every additional player, so that's 27. They don't have that. And I could see the players being like, okay, we'll call it. But as I pointed out, if there are 5 players on the board when there's a ceasefire, nobody's getting a win for the next event. It's just going to be a draw, and it won't impact future events. If you want to leg up on the next event, you gotta eliminate other people who won't be getting that bonus.
If you look at it from the Comintern and Otto perspective, if they take out Axis and Sphere, and don't really care about Nom, that's 15. That's 15 just in the spaces captured, assuming that they don't really care about the camps. If we erase Axis and Sphere off the board right now as is, that's 15, and then an additional 3 points. So that's 18. So then it would be just a thing of we could literally just be like, hey, Alex, instead of doing the movements, Comintern is going to have X, 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 Otto's going to have X, 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 and this thing is going to have X, X. We're fine with just saying that that's how the moves went,
Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. I mean, there's no harm in playing it out, but if you all genuinely trust each other and don't plan to backstab, and I'd verify that in your private channels, I'd be fine with that. But the key is there will be a knock-on effect from this event into the next event, and it's pretty key to have winners and losers for the sake of that event, for the way I'm thinking about it. I don't want to give too much away, but I've talked about this in mod areas. Like, we could do something involving like transports back between the asteroid and the station, and like, I don't know, piracy, and have like some ship-based stuff. Or we can have some stuff on the station itself. Now that there's all this money coming in, maybe that's a resurgence in a movement to go reclaim the roots, and what's that gonna look like? And definitely who has control of the resources coming in and who's profiting from it the most. Those players might start off in better or different positions than ones who, hey, you took away all my mining expeditions, but like me and my boys here are gonna be plundering some of that booty either way, right? It could start them off with different like objectives, and that could be really cool. So if everybody wants a ceasefire, fuck it. I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna respect player agency, but if it's everybody's neutral, then the next event we have is gonna start out on pretty neutral ground, just like this one kind of did.
The thing of it is like, at the end of the day, there's not an even number of like slots.
Yeah.
So it's really like, if it was to be a 3-way or a 2-way or a 1-way or like a 4-way or whatever, like it would have to be split up, and it would be whoever ends up with like the extra unit at that point.
Yeah.
That would be the winner.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, just a 1-way. That's just called masturbating. That's just masturbating. Yeah, and I linked on the build order update a leaderboard, basically, and we have 3 people tied for first right now. I have it broken down by how much percentage of the extractors that they own. So currently, Comintern, Independent, Otto would tie. Completely tie right now. As would Axis and Spear. So if everybody agreed to a ceasefire right now, there would be 3 winners and 2 losers. And I don't think the Axis and the Sphere would be too hot with that. But hey, if I'm a loser but I'm not eliminated completely, maybe that's better. But I'll let people start voting on that the next build phase.
I'm gonna say this. Sphere have a lot more on their plate that they should be focusing on in their RP in regards to the reparations thing. I think that they, instead of worrying about where the fuck they are, should be maybe considering talking about things and accepting any sort of like if people are willing to be like, hey, blah 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 blah, if support, take that fucking deal. This is just a mining rock. No one cares. It doesn't help you politically at the end of the fucking day, okay?
Yeah.
Like, you're at risk for having to pay taxes for existing.
You're especially attacking the independents, the faction representative, which is on the station board of administrators. Yeah, I have a feeling that Sage might be a little more amenable to the Reparations Act this week than Sage was 2 weeks ago, when her faction's mining operations weren't being threatened by the Sphere.
But also, the Axis just has a fucking enemy in everybody. Like, break it down, okay? Let's go back to the town hall meeting however many weeks ago.
3 weeks.
About a week ago, or something like that.
Yeah.
Axis has made an enemy of themselves towards the Comintern. They've made an enemy of themselves towards Otto.
Yep.
Just by fucking arguing their bill for like 20 minutes for no fucking reason. Like, the Otto having the library was a great idea that got shot down immediately without like asking questions, because like, nope, stupid idea. Stupid, horrible fucking idea. Stop it. Shut the fuck up. Bad idea. And then, like, almost arguing every single one of Comintern's bills. They're not on good terms right now.
No,
So,
they
like,
came in so hot with hating all the Comintern's bills and being like, Otto, we like your bill, except change everything about it and make it fascist. I'm like, okay,
like,
you don't really like it then.
I'm going to be personally annoyed out of my fucking mind if anybody takes a deal with Axis.
Yeah.
And people have RP canon reason as to why they should be getting Sphere the fuck out. Like,
yeah.
Here's an idea. I'm gonna say this out loud because you know what? You said you're fucking releasing it tomorrow. This is gonna put people ideas in people's heads.
There you go.
I think it needs to be said. Here we go, folks. The sphere.
Buckle up, gamers.
The sphere having control or taking like advantage of this ore means that they're getting more money for their people to not actually have to worry about paying reparations for getting rid of your fucking food supply. Do not let them have a reward after they need to be punished.
I love the obfuscation that that Mikey has consistently done. Like, well, I didn't do it. Why is everybody being punished? Like, the idea of collective punishment being brought up, like, well, that's against the Geneva Convention. That's not the same thing as collective punishment. A tax is not collective punishment. Collective punishment is, well, somebody stole from us. We don't know who it is, so I'm gonna punish everybody here. It's when your teacher in class is like, well, if the person who did this doesn't volunteer, everybody's gonna get detention. That's collective punishment. Being, no, it was your faction that did this, so your faction will be held accountable. That's just the cost of being a faction. That's just business, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do better. You gotta extend some olive branches and start looking appealing to the other powers because, you know, I joked with the Harmony sector not being particularly active. Maybe they'd get the axe if they didn't step up, and they've stepped up with aplomb here, which has been great. But politically, the position of the Axis and the Sphere is looking pretty bad, looking pretty dire, and if they don't pull a hat trick, they may want to switch their representatives in order to save face. They may want to try to pull something out because they're going to have a hard time getting anybody else to agree with them. But hey, I mean, it fits the fiction. It totally does. None of these powers really love each other. Except those two. Those two love each other. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. No orders in yet, and we've been at this like an hour and a half, so we should probably cut it here. Anything you want to wrap up with? Any last minutes?
I posted that thing about the administration, and like I'm excited to see what you say about it in the news report. That's all I'm gonna say about it, because like I put that down as like a thing of like, you take this, you have fun about it, but also listen, people, stop fucking lying and trying to ruin people's rep with nonsense that's not real, and focus on yourself.
The way that people have been trying to skew it, like, well, hey, they killed our people. Yeah, no, the document that I published said that you fought each other and that you are fighting each other, and I try to use fairly neutral language. Yeah, I'll probably have a twist on it where it's like, Freeport 19 station authorities claim that there has been no documented loss of human life on Syzygy. Claims disputed by Freeport 19 representatives from the Axis Sphere and, well, not the non-aligned movement, because
you know, the
You
thing
haven't
is,
said
right?
that.
Is
So I'll
thing
say
is
people have
like
disagreed with this claim, and that the news organization isn't really able to prove it one way or another right now. So
the thing is that like there hasn't been a loss of life. People have just moved. So
yeah,
it's like
I like have like individual people died. I don't know. I would believe that some people would have died in all this exchange. Like it's been violent. Certainly people would have been wounded. Um but I haven't made a story out of the first death yet, and I feel like that's something I would do. Because we haven't lost a unit, I haven't wanted to be like decisively, here's the first death, right? Because I don't want to make anybody seem overly villainized or overly heroic. So I'm waiting on that first unit loss, which isn't gonna happen this move, probably. Probably. It could happen this move, but it probably won't. But yeah, I'm looking forward to leaning more into what's the truth here? We don't fucking know. And then probably the next update being bodies found on Syzygy. Like, oh shit. Maybe it is bad. But for the time being, I think you're right. Will you be right tomorrow? We'll find out.
I hope not.
Thank you again for taking the time to hang out with me. I mean, we talk all the fucking time anyway, but I thought you were the first one I wanted to go to with right of refusal for one of these. I might try to trap Nami into doing one, though I know Nami's busy during the week, and I probably won't catch them till the weekend. And then Sika, Dank User, Mikey, and I guess Thorn. I didn't want to... Well, do I want to interview the faction representatives or the strategists?
It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it's an
Maybe
interesting
both at the same
clip.
time if you can get them in there.
Yeah, maybe next time, after the next build, when we do a second go around and I have you back, we'll get Thorn in the color, at least get some comments from Thorn for shit to talk about. But this was very last minute.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that things I said here were, for me as a person, looking out from the outside looking in, not as like me saying like, oh, we're gonna make this move or anybody's gonna make this move. Like, this is just like, genuinely, don't fucking take my shit at face value.
Yeah, this is why Raven and I aren't playing the game. We're advising and we're strategizing and we're helping people think and we're participating in conversations. But we are not playing the game as active players. We're just backseating. I think we'll wrap up there. Thank you for hanging out. Goodbye, Twitch. Goodbye, and YouTube. And we'll probably do... I don't want to make these daily, but I'll probably reach out to some of the other factions. Maybe we'll do these daily, maybe we won't. We'll see what the reception is. Until later, whenever that happens, I'm going to say toodaloo. Take care. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.